Alright, I'm here with the results. And this is what I wanted to show you while I have the feet still on here. Where I was referencing the darker foot color with a short keel. It didn't hold true for the entire batch, but this one's a good example. Now when you measure keels on the live bird and the way that you support that bird, if you have your hand holding underneath the bird, line your palm up and then run your hand up. This guy's keel is stopping right there at this knuckle. This foot is partially scalded and it's darker underneath. You always peel them before you simmer them for bone broth. I didn't weigh them yet because I know how many live birds have stood on my scale. And even though I wiped it down with 91% alcohol, I'm going to wait until they're packaged before I put them on the scale. This guy was in the darker foot category. His keel is like that. So we'll put our hand right here, run it up. He stops at that knuckle as well. But he has more chest up in the front than the other one did, as well as greater width. And this guy dressed out really good and handled well, and his foot color was good, but his wings is why he ended up here. This is another one with the darker foot color. His keel is pretty short. He's behind that knuckle, actually. I'm not going to bore you by going through and doing that with every single one of them. That's the gist of what we're measuring for. Length of keel. In front of that keel, this is the breastbone area in here. And you want to see fullness as well. So he's got fullness in front of the keel up in here. And the lightest foot color goes to the worst one of the bunch, actually. His keel wasn't straight. See how it shoots off to the right? There's a bend in it. This one was weird in another way as well. He only had one testicle and it was undersized. And his comb was underdeveloped too. Developmentally, he was just in a class of his own. But he'll still make a meal. I'm glad I found him and he ended up here. This one's probably going to weigh in pretty good. He was in the lighter foot category. But once you peel it, there's still blue in there. But he's got a lot of fleshing up in here. A little longer in the keel. One thing I noticed in doing some other poultry breeds is that they might get the meat up here, but it didn't necessarily go all the way. For these guys not being the best of the bunch, they dressed out pretty good. This guy had a little bend down here in the keel. And some people will say that you can get a crooked keel from them roosting too early. These guys didn't have the luxury of roosting, so that ruled that out. This is genetic. So I'm still going to need to pair hatch and figure out who's throwing what so I can call out some more birds. Because I would love to see all of them end up like this one or this one. This one, from the looks department, he dressed out the best. We'll find out when we weigh, but between the thigh and the fleshing, This one's pretty good too, though. But I'm pleased with these results. We're going to be able to smoke some of them, bake some of them, do some dumplings, do some chicken Alfredo. Got a lot of recipes planned. But these guys did not get the special finishing. So I also want to take a look at what they had going on for fat. That varied bird to bird. This one didn't get much fat at all. There's a little bit, but not much. This one that dressed out bigger, he's got a lot of fat. He just grew good all the way around, so it's a shame that his wings weren't right. This one got a little bit of fat. That one got a little bit. There's going to be fat up into the rib cage and at the front end of the bird as well. But the most obvious is in the back. That one got a little bit. Wow, that guy got a lot. That's pretty thick in there, actually. So far we have 2 birds that layered on a lot of fat without any kind of special treatment. That guy got quite a bit. A little. That guy got a thick layer. I already know that dud on the end didn't get much. So we got 4 birds out of this group that layered on enough fat to where I'm not going to have to worry about butter when I cook them. But I'm pretty satisfied. We're going to eat pretty good off of this batch. So I'm going to turn this off, get the feet off, get them bagged so we can weigh them, see what our total is. The older bird that went gold, I ended up skinning him out because he was very tough. His tendons and everything about him had tightened up to where it was going to be a lot of effort for something I'd have to cook pretty much in a pressure cooker or a crock pot. So I went ahead and parted him, so he's not part of this. I am going to have to start nitpicking my breeding arrangements closer. My goal is to get to where all of them are like this one. The whole batch. Without any of them being off or undersized, if I can help it. Alright, back to work. One thing I forgot to bring up while I had them all positioned, we already started taking off feet. And I was like, all right, pelvic spacing. See that little knob right there? That's a pelvic bone. And that's a pelvic bone. So that spacing, he's got a 3-finger width going on back there. Structurally, he was a pretty dang decent bird. The other measurement that's also important, it helps you a lot when you're processing. I don't know if you've ever experienced a bird where you can't get your hand inside. It's very frustrating and borderline painful because these 2 little bones can dig into your wrist if you do manage to get in there. But the distance of where the keel ends to where those bones are, that's your workspace. So you want to make sure to select for them to have a good cavity there, just to make this part easier. What's a shame about his wings, though? He had red earlobes, too. I'm not going to be heartbroken over it. We've got more chicken. But this is what good looks like, man. He had a lot going for him. But the best thing for him is to be dinner, so we can keep this effort going. Alright, I'm done with side notes. Alright, so I've got him back into the house. I've weighed him. Now I know where I stand. And I want to preface this by saying that these are a line cross. And the male that I used over my hens was a smaller dude. And I picked him because of his foot color, earlobe color, comb shape, to get some of that refinement to features that I was starting to lose. And I lost a little bit of size from what I'm used to by doing that. But I think it was worth it because I still came out of this with a pile of chicken. And their carcass shape is still pretty nice. This guy was my favorite, but he ended up not actually being the biggest by an ounce. He was 3 pounds and 11 ounces. Another 3 pound and 11 ounces. This one was 3 pounds, 12 ounces. Here's the list of the weights. Ended up with a little over 2 pounds worth of feet. That can get cooked down to broth. Our grand total was 30 pounds, 12 ounces, and assuming a value of $5 a pound, that's $154 worth of meat sitting here. Now I know that they're Bresse, but I didn't do a special finishing with these. So technically, I can't put a big price tag on that meat. I can only look at comparable, naturally raised, free-range birds, and that's our going rate for our area. Anywhere from $5 to $7 a pound. But I'm not going to sell this. This is going to stay here for us. But I'm pretty satisfied with these results. And I love the shape. This is what got me. We processed so many cockerels of other varieties that were narrow, like this much bird. Like, take the thigh off and that's what we had. They didn't have this kind of width to them. These package really nice. So that's why I do experimental breeding. Because if the results don't quite pan out, we still end up looking like this. And this bag of feet, this is the first time I've kept them. It's neat to see how the color changes based on the lighting. That's intriguing. But that's our take. It'll be probably another 3 months before I get to do this again. And I'm thinking about doing that video a little more processing minded. This video is more about the birds. We'll get into how we do the processing later on. But my husband is get it done kind of guy. So me taking a break to stop to video what we're doing and how we're doing it, he doesn't necessarily have the patience for that. But I'm going to try to work him into that idea so that we can show how we do all this. I think we got all these bagged in about a minute and a half. But now we're all cleaned up. We're going to go outside, enjoy a little bonfire. And we're not going to eat chicken today. That's one thing I can't do, is process birds and then eat chicken on the same day. Something about being around the smells of the process. I can't eat it afterwards. Maybe it's a quirk. I don't know. I'm sure I'm not the only one. So we're probably going to have beef. But that's our results. Stick around. Subscribe. We'll learn some more stuff about doing the sustainable chicken thing.